All right. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and start lesson 11.7, solving equations with integers. All right, so quick review of solving equations. Okay, now we're going back. We're going back to algebra. Okay, we're putting our algebra thinking caps on. So we've got 3 plus n is equal to 5. Okay, actually I'm going to just flip that around. N plus 3 is equal to 5. Okay. Yes, I realize. I know you can figure this out in your sleep. Okay, but I'm just doing this to review the steps of solving an algebra problem. Okay. So remember, the whole point of algebra is to figure out the value of the variable. Okay. In this case, it's n, right? That's the unknown number. We don't know what it is. I know you know what it is, but we're pretending we don't know what it is. Okay. So the whole point is now to isolate this number. We want to get this all by itself on this side of the equation. Okay. So that means we have to get rid of anything that's on that side of the equation and move it over to the other side. Okay. So remember, with algebra, think about it as a scale. Okay, we've got n plus 3 on this side. We've got 5 on this side. Okay. So I want the n all by itself. Okay. And remember, golden rule of algebra, you can do anything you want to one side of the equation as long as you do the same thing to the other side. Because if you do something to this side and don't do it to this side, your balance is going to become, your scale is going to come unbalanced, right? Okay, so remember, the point is to get n by itself. So that means we have to get rid of this plus 3. Okay, in math, how do we get rid of plus 3? We always do the inverse operation, which is the opposite. What is the opposite of adding 3? Okay, how do I make plus 3 go away? What's the opposite of it? I subtract 3, right? The opposite of adding is subtracting, okay? So basically those two things now cancel each other out. Poof, it is gone, okay? But remember, with my scale, okay, I did something to one side but didn't do it to the other, so what do I need to do to balance it back up? I have to do the exact same thing over here. So then I do minus 3 over here. If I subtracted 3 over here, I got to do the exact same thing over there. So now my equation is n is equal to, well, 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? That's the steps of solving an algebraic equation. All right. Just a quick review. I realize you probably knew that. But now we're going to throw in some positives. Now we're going to throw in some negatives with that. Okay? So t plus 12 is equal to 9. All right, so basically it's the exact same problem that we have, but now, well, let's see. Okay, so here's my variable t. Got to get it all by itself on that side of the equation. What do I need to get rid of? Plus 12. Okay, inverse operation. What's the opposite of adding 12? Subtracting 12. Okay, poof, it's gone. But what do I need to do? I need then to turn around and add or subtract 12 from this side. All right, so now that's where this is coming into this section, okay? Now my problem is 9 minus 12. Well, if I work it out here, 9 minus 12, remember the subtraction problem with integers? Keep, change, 9 plus a negative 12. Well, we know that's a negative 3, so therefore t must equal a negative 3, okay? And remember, with algebra, you can always, you should always know if you're right in algebra, because you can check your steps very easily, okay? Let me see, t is equal to negative 3. Well, let me check. Negative 3 plus 12, well, I know negative 3 plus 12 is 9. Oh, look, equals 9. I know I got it right. All right, let's do some more. W minus 18 is equal to negative 13. All right, so my variable is W. Want to get it all by itself? Okay, so what's preventing that from happening? The minus 18. Okay, what's the inverse operation? What's the opposite of subtracting 18? Adding 18. Okay, because I did the opposite, poof, that's gone. If I add 18 over here, I have to add 18 over here. Okay, so now my problem is negative 13 plus 18. Okay, so remember, if I'm adding a negative and positive, what do I really end up doing? I end up subtracting those numbers. 5. Now, is it a positive or negative 5? Which one was the larger, 18 or 13? 18's bigger. 18 was my positive value, so my answer is 5. Well, let's check. 5 minus 18 is negative 13. So I know I'm correct. All right, now you might see some that are really wonky. All right, x minus a negative 6 equals 8. Well, let's see. So x, okay, here's my variable. I'm going to get it all by itself. So here I am. I'm subtracting a negative 6. Well, what's the opposite of subtracting a negative 6? Well, I guess adding a negative 6, right? So those should cancel out. Well, then let's go ahead and then turn her around over here. Add a negative 6, 8 plus a negative 6. Well, remember I've got two signs, okay? One's positive, one's negative. I'm adding them, so remember I go ahead and find the difference. 2. Okay, which one was the larger value, 8 or 6? 8. 8 is positive, so my answer is positive 2. X is equal to positive 2. Well, let's check. 2 minus negative 6. Well, remember if I do my keep, change, change, then it becomes 2 plus 6 equals 8. I know I was able to solve it correctly. All right. So that, oh, and I got multiplying and dividing. Same thing. Okay, so I showed you addition and subtracting. Multiplying and dividing. Same idea. X divided by 3 is equal to a negative 7. All right. So remember inverse operations. Here's my variable x. I've got to get rid of the divided by 3. Okay. Inverse operation, in order to get rid of something, I have to do the opposite. What is the opposite of dividing by 3? Well, the opposite process of division is multiplication. Okay. So then I have to multiply by 3. Okay. They cancel each other out. Okay. If I multiply by 3 here, I have to multiply by 3 over here. Okay. Negative 7 times 3. Okay. So remember those rules we talked about. Okay. I've got a positive and a negative. I'm multiplying them. So multiply like normal. 21. Is my answer going to be positive or negative? I have two different signs. Okay. So therefore my answer, if I have two different signs, then my answer has to be negative. X is equal to a negative 21. Well, let's do n times negative 6 is equal to 4. Okay? No, that's not a good number. 24. Alright. So in this, and I will say, yeah, we're going to stop, really in this, once we get to algebra, we kind of stop using the times sign. Just because when you're working with variables, it really looks like in the letter X, so that gets confused. So we're going to show multiplication like this, okay? When they're side by side like that, it means multiplication, okay? So we've got negative 6 times n is equal to 24. Okay, well, what process is going on here? Multiplication. Okay, remember I'm trying to get rid of the negative 6. I want the n all by itself. What is the opposite of multiplying by a negative 6? Well, the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by a negative 6. Okay, so I use the exact same number, just the opposite process. Okay, so that now cancels that out. So if I divide this side by negative 6, I have to divide this side by negative 6. So I've got n is equal to 24 divided by negative 6. Well, 24 divided by 6 is 4. Now, is my answer going to be positive or negative? I've got a positive here, negative there, two different signs. Therefore, my answer must be negative. All right. So good luck with 11-7.